all three of you have tax proposals that you have discussed, and all three of you have been criticized for them. You've all got proposals on education, on economic development, criminal justice, other elements of governance. All of them require money. How can, Ms. Sanders, how can you accomplish your goals and cut taxes? Mr. Jones, how can you accomplish your goals without raising taxes? And Mr. Harrington, which taxes would you raise, cut, or even retain? And we'll begin with Mr. Harrington.
Well, I've been talking a lot about cutting the remainder of the grocery tax that is on the Arkansas books. I can't even believe that Arkansas ever had a tax on the food that goes into people's mouth. That is an immoral tax. I just cannot believe that happened. And I'm just dumbfounded by it. Another thing, people want the sales, well, some people don't want sales tax, but I would like to fight for getting the sales tax cut. That's what I would like to do, because it also is a double tax on people's income. First, we have the income tax now. Whenever I go try to spend money on goods for food and for my family, I have to deal with that tax. So we have to find a way to cut the things down. Now, I want to say about this, especially being the executive of the government and proposing budgets to the legislative branch, being poor, you learn how to make it with not a whole lot. And I hope to bring that to the executive branch.
Ms. Sanders,
make the penny stretch.
1 minute, Ms. Sanders.
Thank you. Right now, 54% of Arkansas's budget is spent on education. Yet the results we are getting are simply unacceptable. We have to do more with the money that we are already investing in our state. We have a number of programs that are not meeting the most basic standard. If we are putting this much money into the system and our results are actually getting worse as we put more money in, that is not a standard by which I think we can operate. We have to do more with the money that we have been entrusted with. But we also have to look for modernization and efficiencies within government. We've seen other states take this on and pass the technology savings of the tune of $40 to $50 million a year onto the taxpayer. That's something that Arkansas is capable of, and it's something that we should be doing. Focusing on things like phasing out the state income tax allow us to be competitive with the states around us, like Texas and Tennessee and Mississippi, who's just passed legislation to do so. We have to do it responsibly, but we do that by growing our own economy and cutting out the waste and the fraud and the abuse that exist in our government spending as it is now.
Mr. Jones, 1 minute.
So I hear talk about results not matching up. I hear talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. Well, it's been Ms. Sanders' party that's been in power for the last 8 years, so I think we have to look there to see. And Einstein said you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So we have to do something different. Here's the deal. I am for cutting taxes, and we have an opportunity to do so. But the math has to add up. You cannot eliminate 55% of the state revenue and then not cut something, unless, as Texas was brought up, you end up like Texas, where property taxes go through the roof. So what are we saying to our farmers? Or you end up like Florida, where sales taxes go through the roof. So what are we saying to the 1 in 4 kids who go to bed hungry and they're trying to figure out how to pay for their food? Or you end up like Kansas, where the educational system collapses. We can cut taxes, and we can spread PB&J across the state, which is preschool, broadband, and jobs. There are resources there that we can leverage, but we have to do it in a measured, responsible way.
Mr. Harrington, 30 seconds.
I agree with Dr. Jones. We have to be smart about our spending. We have to be smart about where we cut our taxes. And we have to be smart about how we spend the money of the people of Arkansas. We've got to do that. We cannot continue the paradigm that we have in our government right now. And I know people say that taxes are what we pay for living in a civilized society. That might be right, but we still have an opportunity as a people to discuss whether or not we're going to continue those taxes.
Ms. Sanders, 30.
Like I said, we have to focus on phasing out the state income tax responsibly. That doesn't mean rushing out and doing it. One of the best ways we can do this is through growing our own economy. We have an incredible abundance of natural resources, and we have a reason that we are called the natural state. We have untapped outdoor economy that we have barely even scratched the surface of. There is so much that can be done to grow our own economy here at home and then pass that savings on to the taxpayer.
Mr. Jones.
Look, we're hindered from unleashing our full potential when we have areas across our state, 30%, that don't have access to high-speed internet, which allows them to tap into the broader economy. And what we have to focus on is how are we going to provide that level of infrastructure so that our Kansans can truly thrive. And I keep saying it, and I'll say it again, the math has to add up. I've met with all 15 department agencies and their senior leadership under Governor Hutchinson's administration, and the DFNA has said you just can't eliminate 55% of the state budget.